Aloha guys and welcome back. I'm Cameron and this is the So Well Garage. So in today's episode of Let's Build a Turbo Taco, we are going to be working on trying to get as much of this electrical stuff and basically the entirety of this engine bay cleaned out so we can start mocking up everything. We also need to get this exhaust manifold out. Should be pretty easy. Looks like there's 2 bolts down there and an O2 sensor. But before we can actually start mounting the 2JZ, or at least start mocking it up, we're gonna have to go ahead and get the oil sump on here with all of the oil pickup stuff, so that way we can double check and make sure that all of our clearances here are going to work. And I don't know if I explained it in the last video, but I'm trying to keep the stock location for the transmission to just make everything that much easier. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get to work, guys. So removing the exhaust was nowhere near as easy as I would have hoped. These guys basically welded up as much as they possibly could. Even this flange to the factory exhaust flange was welded. I had to cut the welds on the sides. The nuts were welded on. Everything that they could have welded, they welded. And I'll give them credit because honestly those welds don't look terrible. And it kept it together, which is what I'm assuming the point was. So I think we're going to go ahead and move on to the oil sump on the 2JZ and then just start mock fitting it. So let's go, guys. So we have officially hit the first road bump in this swap. As you guys can see, we have about 3.5 inches that this is going to need to move back, so that way the sump can actually fit in between the front and mid cross member. But if you also look, if we move this back about 3 to 3.5 inches, this is our stock 2RZ motor mount, and then of course this is the stock Tacoma motor mount. And I think that we are going to be able to actually make the stock rubber isolators work. This is not going to work, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do that today. I do have to go get all the registrations done for all of my vehicles. I have the appointment for that today, so I will catch you guys tomorrow in the morning. Good morning, guys, and welcome back. It is the next day and I'm feeling super motivated, so let's go ahead and get this transmission out so we can go ahead and start mocking the 2JZ. So we have the transmission out, and of course, of all the things that I removed from this transmission, the oil was not one of them, and I made a huge mess. So I'm gonna run down the store, grab some kitty litter, clean up all the trash that's around here because it's not conducive to working. Get this place cleaned up a little bit so that way we can move on to hopefully building our motor mounts today. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. So this is definitely a first for me, and I didn't want to bore you guys too much with setting the engine in and moving it and wiggling it and all that stuff and just trying to get everything right. So basically what I did was I used some wooden shims so I could maintain the clearance from the cross members and the oil pan, and used my level to make sure that everything was level, at least front to back. And then what I actually ended up doing was measuring that bolt to that bolt, and it was 22 inches, so I made sure that the center of the crank was at 11 inches. And then I'm gonna go ahead and measure back here and make sure that's all good to go. But as for the actual motor mounts, it looks like we're gonna line up pretty good. I am gonna have to angle it a little bit that way, as you can see, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and start building the plate for the block side, for both sides, and then we can start working on getting the actual mounts from the block to the isolators. So this will be a new experience, but let's go, guys. Alright guys, so we have the mock-up of our motor mount, and this is kind of what I'm thinking. I already checked the clearances for the bolt so the rubber isolator can come out, and I'm definitely going to build another one from the bottom here that goes from the bottom to the bottom of the plate. But all of this is like super thick stuff. It's 3/16 or bigger, so it's gonna be nice and sturdy. But this is definitely taking way longer than I expected. That's fine. I really want to get this done today, well, tonight, as you guys can see. But let's go ahead, get this tacked up, see what it looks like. So we have it tack welded up, and I have to say these Forney rods are the biggest pieces of crap that I have ever messed with. I used plenty of Lincoln rods before. I think these are, 6013, and had no problems, and these Forneys are just, oh my god, they're just trash. But I'm gonna grind down most of this and then start TIG welding it. So let's go ahead and get it done. am so sorry, guys. I kind of stopped filming last night. All my cameras were dead. The night just went on and on until almost midnight last night. But the 2JZ is hard mounted in on its own motor mounts. It is sitting under its own weight. Clearly, no engine stand. And I will be doing more reinforcements later on, but these are just kind of mock-up for now since I don't have the bell housing for the transmission. The bell housing is on order and it will be here hopefully in the next couple of days, and that's going to be our next step, is getting the transmission mounted in with the engine and then making sure everything is solid and level. But as you can see, it is level from left to right and it is level front to back. It looks pretty centered. We might have to change this up because once we get the bell housing in, then we can finally set everything in, make sure it's all good. But we have full clearances between all of the cross members. But now the question is what do we do with the 2RZ? It has a ton of miles on it, but it has been extremely reliable. I have had no problems with it whatsoever. By far, the most reliable vehicle I have ever owned has been this Tacoma. And I don't know if I want to just sell it. I wouldn't mind like rebuilding it, putting forged internals in and turboing it, but then I have nothing to put it into. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below what we should do with this 2RZ. Should we just sell it? Or should we build it? It never hurts to have a backup engine. I mean, if God forbid something happens to the 2JZ, well then now we have a turbo 2RZ that could replace it and would bolt right in since, you know, it's the factory engine. But that is going to do it for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If this is the kind of stuff that you like to see, please consider subscribing. But with that being said, have a good day, guys. See you later.